Goosebumps, Bride of the Living Dummy, Chapter 12. Leaning over the empty glass cage, the dummy grinned across the room at me. I dropped to my hands and knees and began frantically searching for the lizard. I crawled from one end of the room to the other, peering under the desk, under the chair, in the closet. I pulled up the bedspread and searched under the bed. Petey! No sign of him. I climbed to my feet and spun to the bedroom door. It had been wide open when I arrived. Did the lizard crawl out into the hall? I dove out into the hall, searched up and down, no lizard. I heard voices and music down the hall. The TV was on in the twins' room. I jerked open the door. Katie and Amanda were sitting on the floor with Mary Ellen between them, watching a cartoon. "Where is he?" I shrieked. "What did you do with him?" They spun around, letting out startled cries. Mary Ellen toppled onto her side. "What's wrong?" Katie asked, jumping to her feet. "You know what's wrong," I screamed. "Where is Petey? Where?" I grabbed Katie by the shoulders and started to shake her. Stop it! Amanda tried to pull me away. "We didn't touch Petey. Jillian, stop it!" "Yes, you did," I cried. "You little brats, you're going to pay for this." "What's going on?" Dad's voice boomed over the noise from the TV. He was still in his overcoat, still carrying his briefcase. He had just walked in from work. "Jillian, what is the problem?" "Another one of their mean tricks," I screamed, letting go of Katie. "This time they killed my lizard." "Huh?" His face was filled with surprise. "Killed it?" "We did not," Katie and Amanda cried in unison. "We didn't touch her lizard," Amanda insisted. "Really, Dad," Katie added. "She's crazy. Ow, she hurt my arms." Katie rubbed her shoulders and made a pouty face. "I'll do worse than that," I threatened. "Look, Dad." I dragged him into my room and showed him Slappy and the open, empty cage. The girls came running in. They pretended they hadn't seen any of this before. "I searched everywhere for Petey," I told Dad. "We've got to find him. He can't live very long without food or water." Dad shook his head sadly. He dropped his briefcase onto my bed and turned to the twins. "You really went too far this time," he told them. "But we didn't do it," Katie protested. We didn't," Amanda chanted. "Well, the dummy didn't do it," Dad told them sternly. "I don't want any more lies, girls. We tell the truth in this house. I mean it." Dad turned to me. "Petey has to be somewhere in this house, Jillian. He's slow. He couldn't have gotten far. We'll all hunt for him. We'll find him before he starves to death." "But what if he climbs into a radiator or something?" I wailed. "What if we can't find him?" Before Dad could answer, Mom came bursting into the room. "What's all this fuss about?" she demanded. Her mouth fell open when she saw Slappy perched over the open cage. "We didn't do it," Katie squeaked before Mom had a chance to accuse her. "We didn't," Amanda insisted. Is the lizard okay?" Mom asked. "We don't know. He's gone," I cried. Mom shook her head at the twins. "You've done a really terrible thing this time, girls. Why won't anyone believe us?" Katie screamed. Dad put a firm hand on each of the twins' shoulders. "Enough talk. We can discuss this later. Now let's each take a different room and search." Katie crossed her arms in front of her chest and pouted. "I won't search until you say you believe Amanda and me," she declared. "No," Dad replied sharply. "We don't believe you, Katie. There's no way that a dummy can climb up on a table by itself and, oh no." We all saw it. We all saw Slappy start to move. We saw his head tilt back, and then we saw his mouth open. All 5 of us froze and stared in shock as the dummy moved on his own. Chapter 13. "Whoa!" I grabbed Dad's arm. The twins both uttered frightened cries. Slappy's head tilted. His mouth opened wider, and Petey poked out from between the dummy's lips. "Huh?" I let out a gasp. I let go of Dad's arm and went running across the room. The lizard slid his front legs out over Slappy's chin. His head moved from side to side as if he was glancing around the room. "Petey, how did you get in there?" I cried. I gently pulled the lizard the rest of the way out of the dummy. Slappy fell heavily off the table and landed on the floor at my feet. I cradled Petey tenderly in my hands and turned back to Mom and Dad. "He's okay," I reported. My parents were both still frozen in shock. Finally, Mom opened her lips and let out a long whoosh of air. Glad that's over. laughed and scratched his bald spot. I really thought the dummy was moving, he exclaimed. What a scare! The twins were huddled by my bed. We didn't do it, Amanda said softly. Really, Jillian? Of course you did, Mom snapped. She pressed her hands against her waist and glared angrily at them. There's no one else in this house. I didn't do it, and your father didn't do it. So who does that leave? But, both girls sputtered. But we wouldn't try to kill a live animal, Katie finally choked out. Mom shook her head. This is a terrible thing, not a joke. I want both of you to go get Mary Ellen, Mom ordered. Put the doll away in your closet. But, Mom, Katie started. Put the doll in the closet, Mom repeated sternly. You can't bring her out again until you tell the truth about what you did and apologize to Jillian. But Mary Ellen won't like it in the closet, Katie protested. We can't put her away, Amanda insisted. We can't. Mom just stared at her in reply. She turned to me. Jillian, go put Mary Ellen away in their closet now. The girls continued to protest. I set Petey down carefully in the glass cage. He seemed perfectly fine. I think he probably enjoyed his exciting adventure. The cage lid was cracked, but it still fit over the top of the cage. I made sure it was on tight. Then I made my way into the twins' room. Mary Ellen was sitting on the floor in front of the TV. I heaved the big doll over my shoulder and started to the closet. No, please, Katie and Amanda burst in front of me. Please don't put her in there. Mom said, I replied quietly. I jammed the doll on the top shelf where the girls couldn't reach her. Then I closed the closet door. If you want her back, just tell the truth, I instructed them. I hurried back to my room and shut the door. Petey was moving around in the cage back to normal. I shook my head, thinking about Katie and Amanda. They were always pulling mean tricks on me. They both definitely had a cruel streak. The haircut in the middle of the night was pretty bad, but this was even worse. Revenge. The word burst into my mind. I'd been planning for so long to pay them back for all their cruel tricks. Now was the best time. But what could I do? What would be the perfect revenge? I tried to imagine them sneaking into my room, pulling Petey from his cage, propping Slappy over the cage, and stuffing the lizard in the dummy's mouth. Hard to believe. Then another picture flashed into my mind. I pictured myself standing in the dark hall of the little theater outside Jimmy O. James's dressing room, watching the ventriloquist argue with the dummy. And once again, I pictured Slappy swinging his arm and slamming his fist into the ventriloquist's nose. Impossible, I told myself. That didn't happen. I gazed down at Slappy, still sprawled on my bedroom floor. His dark eyes stared blankly up at me. I felt a chill. I'm putting you away too, I told him. I bent down to pick the dummy up, and once again his jaw snapped down on my hand. Ow! I let out a cry and struggled to pry my hand loose. He isn't biting me, I told myself. The jaws are stuck, just stuck.